thesis-based. This is the information session for our part-time master's program. So just sort of general housekeeping. So the purpose of the information session is to sort of address general questions regarding admissions and applications with the IMS. So we can sort of only speak in generalities for the most part. And we do try and keep the IMS website as up to date as possible. So particularly with regards to courses and stuff like that, with IMS policies and procedures. So, you know, always double check what we say to what the IMS website says. So who are we? Well, who is the IMS? So we specialize in translational research with a strong emphasis on bench to bedside clinical applications. And like I mentioned just previously, we offer a thesis-based graduate degrees in medical science. So thesis-based graduate degrees are research intensive. So the primary focus is on your research and are course light, and the courses are meant to ideally complement the research that that's being conducted with the IMS. So why a part-time option? So a part-time option provides you with the opportunity to strengthen your research skills, to deepen your expertise in a particular area, and also to advance if you have any professional goals in mind that sort of require graduate level training, but you can also still do the graduate training while still staying in your current profession. Because previously, when we only had a full-time option, and we still require the full-time option for the master's still requires 80% protected time for research. So the primary focus used to be on, or still is, on your research, and oftentimes those who are working professionals either had to reduce their workload or temporarily suspend their current working profession while they were focusing on their master's. And now with the part-time master's option, that allows you to be able to do both. So the degree timeline for the part-time master's is the recommended program duration is about 4 years, which includes time for the thesis preparation and defense. And so this is sort of just a brief timeline of sort of what you're looking at. So first year, you want to start your courses, start your research. Year 2, finishing up your courses, and then by year 3, really focusing on your thesis and sort of submitting any papers for publication, although that's not a requirement. It is sort of recommended. And then year 4, you sort of write up and defend your thesis is the goal. So who is the part-time option designed for? So it's designed for Canadian citizens or permanent residents who are currently employed full-time in a relevant healthcare discipline. So for those who hold a certification or a licensure in an Ontario regulated health profession, so pharmacy, dentistry, medicine, nursing, optometry, there's a whole host of all of those professions. So you cannot be enrolled in another program of study at a university or another post-secondary institution. And you also must have found a faculty supervisor who has an IMS graduate faculty membership to be able to supervise you for the length of the degree. So for at least the 4 years part-time. And so what are we looking for in terms of entry? The entry sort of can be classified, I guess, into three main pillars. So the first pillar being academic requirements. So we are looking at a 4-year undergraduate degree with a minimum GPA of a 3.7 or an A minus or an 80%, depending on how that academic institution sets their grades. Or those of you who might have a 2-year master's program, we are looking at a 3.3 GPA, which is a B+. If there are those of you who completed your degree more than 5 years ago, and if the grades are sort of below the minimum GPA requirements that I just mentioned, then you sort of must demonstrate evidence of scholarly productivity. So what have you been doing between the time that you had completed your degree to when you're considering applying to the IMS? And then the second sort of pillar is research motivation. And so how do you demonstrate research motivation? Will you demonstrate your research motivation through a letter of intent so that allows you to further expand on the research experiences and the research skills and any activities that you have, and also the reason why you're interested in pursuing a research project and the part-time MSc option with the IMS. Your CV that sort of then, which would sort of complement the letter of intent. So any academic productivity, any publications, any conferences, research experiences, and with whom. We're also looking for a research project plan. So outlining the kind of research that you're interested in doing, and the project plan with milestones, sort of year milestones to sort of help keep you on track with the research project, as well as a letter of supervision from an IMS faculty member saying that they've agreed to supervise you for the length of the degree, which is 4 years. And then the third pillar is reference letters. So we require 2 references from either a current or a previous supervisor that's familiar with your academic achievements, sort of interpersonal skills, and any research experiences that you might have had. And at least one of the 2 references must be able to describe the research abilities and the research experiences that you've had whilst they were supervising you. We do also, because this is a part-time master's for working professionals, we do require a letter confirming that you are employed full-time. And there is also a terms of engagement document, which can be found on the IMS website, that must be signed by yourself and your supervisor, sort of outlining the requirements for the master's program. Okay. So the application deadlines for September 2026. So we're only doing September cycle, September 2026. So applications opened April 1st, and the deadline for September is June 1st at 11:59 p.m. EST.